Well, hey, folks, you don't have to adjust your screens. It's none other than the amazing comedian, news commentator, I'd call him, musician, singer, a lot more. Chad Prather, how you doing, Chad?
I'm a whole list of things, man. You better not ask my ex-wife.
we have to have a 1 hour show.
Yeah, we can list a lot of things, man. Yeah, it's good to see you, Brant, man.
It's
I
always
appreciate
good
you having me on.
Oh man, anytime. I've got to have you on CBS Let's Talk, and of course, word on the street here that folks are watching from all over. Man, it's exciting what's going on. Chad, I can't keep up with you, man. You're hosting your show on The Blaze, and that's always great. But man, I remember before I got to meet you, we'll go into that in a little bit, but I remember seeing your ditties on Facebook, man, and it was just so funny. I thought, who is this guy? He's great. And little did you know how that would take off. Now, were you a veterinarian when you started doing those?
I was doing a large animal. I was doing an equestrian television show. I was traveling all over the country doing equestrian work, and we used to do a ton of stuff. I was actually doing a cable television show. We would go around and we would showcase equestrian events around the country that were unique. Like the stagecoach races where these guys would try to kill themselves, and just wild stuff. Polo clubs in Denver, and they would always, stuntmen in LA, right? So they would make me do the stunts, and then they would get me on the polo horses playing polo and doing all these things. And then we would showcase the area we were in with food and drinks and things to do. And so, yeah, I was doing that television show when one day I used to just sit in my truck because I thought it was fun, and just talk about what I was thinking that day or what I'd seen. And I had no idea that it just took off, man. It skyrocketed, went crazy viral. I remember back then my mother called me on the phone and she said, "Are you okay? I heard you were sick." And I said, "What do you mean? I'm not sick." And she goes, "Yeah, I was at church and somebody came up to me and said they heard you went viral." And so I said, "Mom, they're talking about my Facebook and my Twitter." And I think I was 42 at the time. She goes, "You're too old to be touching your Twitter."
Oh man! So you educated her, obviously.
A little bit. I didn't have the nerve to tell her about my Snapchat.
Because
man,
you'd really be in trouble.
Thing. Yeah, only in the 21st century can you do social media and social media take off further than what you were doing on a cable television show. So it was crazy. And I did do a lot of vet work and stuff like that in the early days, and worked with animals. Grew up. We have Prather quarter horses back home, and cutting and reining and tons of stuff. Having fun with that. Then I realized that I was far better at running my mouth than I was putting my arm up a rear end of a cow. So it's still BS. It's all BS, Brant. So, but it's a lot easier work. It can be more stressful. The cows don't always talk back, but social media, you know how that goes. You get the trolls and the people like that and the complainers.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, I mean, and I've always been kind of a political junkie, so I try to look for the political humor in things. And these days it's not even funny anymore. It's gotten crazy. So yeah, it's interesting the journey it's taken.
I bet. Well, not since Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy had I seen someone, much less a cool cowboy, give his deep thoughts about everything from the lunacy that we're seeing with the left to people walking with their pants baggy to, and then you write songs about it too. Yeah. Man. You write these funny songs,
Yeah, I'm working on a song today. My girlfriend and I are writing a song called "We Can't Date." And it's talking about, your mom may love you, but your mom may approve of you, but we can't date because you've got all of these woke ideas and these real progressive thoughts that you think are cool. And so we're writing a new song right now called "We Can't Date."
We can't date, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a funny look at it. I just find everything to be funny. Like today, I did a video today because I got so tickled, man. I was crying, dude. I went to do a blood draw today at a clinic, and this lady was holding a Kleenex over her face. She didn't have a mask, so she literally had a Kleenex tissue She was holding
Right.
it over her face like a mask. Well, she needed both of her hands to fill out a form. So she pulls out her sunglasses and put those on, and she tucked the corners of the Kleenex in the sunglasses, and she's sitting there, the thing's just breathing out like this. and then it wouldn't hold. So she took it, ripped it in half, and rolled it into little nose rockets and shoved it up her nose like she had a broken nose. And she was just sitting there with those things. She was breathing out of her mouth, but she had these things shoved up her nose, filling out her form. The world's gone absolutely crazy, man.
It has. I guess it's getting easier to spot, Chad. I mean, no, I don't know about you, but if I'm driving on the highway, I do a lot of driving in multiple states. If I see somebody with their mask on in their car, I can tell you exactly who they voted for.
100%. No doubt about it. Listen.
Why is that?
I've always had a weird suspicion that people are dumb. And so like the last 2 years have really kind of confirmed a lot of it. But, you say, why is that? I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a worldview. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer.
Right.
I got a pretty deep faith. I'm pretty raw around the edges. And the older I get, the worse it gets, because I guess I'm getting grumpy. But, a person of faith, right? I believe in eternity.
Yeah.
I believe that there's more than just this life for us. So I don't walk in fear. And I don't know, maybe it's maybe that progressive mindset doesn't adhere so much to faith. Maybe they think this is all there is and they got to hold on.
Well, Chad, it really does go deeper. And this too. People that don't usually, I just did a show with the mayor, Javier Hoven, here in Odessa. Incredible man of faith. And they all give their hellos to you. But you're hearing people more and more talk about this war between evil and good, this war of spiritual darkness versus the light. That before they would never say that before. Now they don't care, because this culture realizes Hollywood hates them and they hate Hollywood back. They don't hate old Hollywood. I love interviewing John Schneider of Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville. He's a patriot. He's a believer too. He's not a religious guy, but he's a man of faith. I'm not religious, but I'm a man of faith. You're not religious, but you're a real man of faith. But it almost seems like that there's no longer Christian and secular. There's good and evil. There's people who either hate the family, they hate America, they hate men, they hate children, they even hate women because they're replacing them and taking away all of their opportunities and scholarships and everything. And they're dark, man. Or they love America, they love their families, they love the freedom of faith they have, they love everything that's not vile. They love, the children. They protect children. I mean, you're seeing this dividing line here, and I'm telling you, it's really got to be even more than brain chemistry. It's got to be either a dark heart or a light heart, and it's not a political thing, although it's showing up in political circles. But why is it now? We go from ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, from Kennedy, who was a Democrat, to Pelosi, who had an affair with Kennedy. She's been around since the days of JFK, and it seems to be everything vile, everything anti-family, everything dark. I don't know about you, but it looks like a spiritual battle to me, man.
I was having a conversation with somebody 2 weeks ago, and I told them, I said, the big conversation that no one wants to have, or at least no one is having, is the fact that what we're seeing is a spiritual battle, right? Yeah. I did and I've kind of changed my tone a little bit recently, even on social media. For those who don't know, I ran for governor here in the state of Texas. Right. And that was a battle. I had a purpose in doing that. And that's a long story, but there was, you start to see how these things, when you get involved with them, how dirty and slimy and cesspooly they are. Right. And I said to a group of people 2 weeks ago, I said, that race drew me, if possible, the thing drew me closer to God, that campaign did, because I saw so much evil that was out there. And I thought, we're in a spiritual battle, and people don't want to talk about that, whether they don't understand it or they just forget about it, or it's not a conversation they want to have. Right. But we're really, when you're talking about, the next generation, and you're talking about people who are walking off the job as teachers because they can't talk about their relationships or sexuality or whatever with kindergartners.
Right.
That's pure evil.
It is evil.
And so, and again, that's not widespread at this point. We hear about the few cases, and we want to blow it out of proportion a little bit, but we have to blow it out of proportion because, I was in the Philippines years ago, and I was walking through a fruit market, and there was a sign that translated said about the fruit. It was to the workers. It said, "Today's spot becomes tomorrow's rot." And I thought, that's where we are as a society. And if you see the spot, you got to call it out because that fruit's going to be bad tomorrow. And so, that's what I'm trying to do. So I've kind of changed my tone a little bit. I've gone back to being a little more inspirational, I hope, a little more motivational. It just, trying to get people to realize that, one, there's value in life. There's an identity to be had. There's a destiny to be chased. There's a legacy that you can leave behind. There's a history that you should embrace. And so, I want people to embrace those things and hold on to them because I just don't feel, we talk about the people with the masks on and all these other crazy things are living in fear. There's just no substance to life anymore. Right. And I want people to have that eternity in their hearts and just live for forever, and make their life count for something. So I've kind of changed my tone a little bit and I've kind of gone back to some of those things. And, I'm still pretty raw around the edges. Sometimes. I'll still let people hold it. But, look, man, the world needs real men. The world needs real women. Right. People that have integrity and have a heart and have a spirit. And, I'm 49 now. I think I've learned a little bit, at least along the way about myself and things that are wrong with me and things I want to do better. But, I'm trying to, for every time I'm preaching to somebody else, I'm mostly preaching to myself, So it's pretty interesting. Even on my show, the Chad Prather show last Tuesday, we had, a lot of people said it was the best show we ever did. We've done a lot of shows. We did a show. I pulled out my Bible and we basically just did a Bible study. I just read through some verses in the book of Luke and just kind of gave my thoughts on them as I read through them. And people were like, "Oh, you don't need to be preaching." And I was like, "I'm not preaching. I'm just telling you what my Bible says." And there you go. It was, and a lot of people, though, that was few negatives compared to thousands of positives. And so I don't know, maybe we'll do more of that. I just think that's what the world needs right now.
It is what the world needs. And, people need to get educated, truly educated. I'm not talking about this garbage this curriculum that was funded by our enemies. Right. They tried that in the 60s with the Black community. Russia did try to spark a race war, and China successfully infiltrated with BLM and Antifa. People don't know about that. Common Core was heavily supported by the Muslim Brotherhood, whom I reported on when I was a counterterrorism reporter. I mean, it's people need to wake up. Nobody is surprised anymore about Obama. Here we are in his third term. It was so sad seeing Dementia Man can't even get his attention. Nobody's fooled. And when I go overseas, everyone says your media lies to you. And they also say nobody buys this election. Nobody believes that Trump didn't win. We're just waiting for you to take it over, and we have our popcorn ready. People tell me that, I'd hear that from Australians. I'd hear that from Egyptians. I'd hear that from Germans, and people even in France, man, that over there you have every kind of race, every kind of color, and they're in harmony. Of course, that they laugh at us. I came to the hard fact that they called us stupid Americans, not because we're not educated, but because our media lies to us and we believe our media. That's why they call us stupid Americans. And of course, I don't buy it, and you and I, we're in the media. We're creating positive media, true media. But with all of that said, people are hungry for the truth. People are hungry, not just for positive media, but they want hope, and people want to know the truth. They're finding out so much of their history has been a lie. Chad, did you know that the Constitution is nothing more than sermon notes from the Black Robes, the outlaw preachers that for 20 years King George wanted dead? They preached freedom, truth, justice, liberty. Sound familiar? John Adams wanted to be a preacher until his dad heard him preach and said, "You need to be a politician," but and John Hancock the same way. So what did they do? They took the writings and the sermon notes of the Black Robes, the warrior outlaw preachers that led some of their men into battle in the Revolutionary War, It's said that only 3% fought in the Revolutionary War, and so many others just stayed at home and prayed about it. Well, you said we need real men. We do need real men and women in the order of the black robes who created our Constitution. So when you break open that Bible, you're not getting religious. You're getting foundational to this country and to the precepts that we have enjoyed, the most unique freedom experiment and successful experiment for a while on the face of the earth. So I commend you for being a person of faith and for breaking out that Bible from which our Constitution is based on. I just shot another show before this one, and I was telling the story of the Egyptian president, El Sisi. They call him the Trump of Egypt. He gathered Christian leaders and he said, listen, I'm Muslim, but the most successful countries, prosperous, safest, healthiest, are those who have the Christian principles. People need to go over to Egypt. People need to go overseas, Chad, who have a problem with your Bible, or who don't love America. And I'll say this is, if you are living in the richest, most freest country in the face of the earth, and you think you're oppressed, your problem isn't oppression. Your problem is stupidity. Because guys like you and me can make something out of nothing in this country, especially in the great land of Texas. But I'm glad that you take the stance that you take, man. And
thanks,
how would you encourage people who are perhaps finding out for the first time that our freedoms are truly based on the Bible and the black robes? How would you encourage them in being bold in their faith and their patriotism in this hour?
You got to embrace it. I keep using that word. You've got to embrace it and stop apologizing. So I wrote a book came out last year. It's called Am I Crazy? And the answer is yes. The subtitle of that book is An Unapologetic Patriot Takes on the Insanity of Today's Woke World. And so, we built a clothing brand, an apparel brand around the word unapologetic.
Wow.
Everything to me is unapologetic. That doesn't mean you don't say you're sorry when you're wrong. That doesn't mean, you release forgiveness or anything like that, but you don't, lost you there for a second. I had a call that came in. Sorry.
You're good.
You don't walk around, with your nose in the sand, navel gazing, dragging your head, every time the culture of the world sticks its head out and says, hey, you offended me. Stop apologizing. You don't owe them anything. You didn't offend them personally. You didn't do anything to them personally. So stop with this apologetic mindset. I'm not going to apologize for believing in small government, limited government. I'm not going to apologize for believing in the sanctity of human life and that life begins at fertilization and conception. I'm not going to apologize for calling abortion murder. I'm not going to apologize for saying that, marriage is between a man and a woman. I'm not going to apologize for saying that God's order is is a husband and wife to raise a child, and for the nuclear family. I'm not going to apologize for those things. That doesn't mean I can't disagree with somebody and still love them.
Right.
I was saying on my show yesterday, I said, look, there's a difference between realism and radicalism. They want to call you a radical for being real. So if I say that 74% of the black homes in America have no fathers, that's not a racist comment. That's realistic. It's a realistic comment. So how are we ever going to fix these issues? And they say, well, you can't fix these issues. Well, I can certainly pray about those issues. And if I care enough to pray about those issues, I may not be black and I may not live in the black community, but I know those that do, and I can pray for those people. And because that's a part of our society that actually affects my part of society. So, we're all in this country. If we are a melting pot, if it's a spot that becomes rot on another part of culture, it's going to become that in my life. So I want to make sure that I'm right and others are right. So, I keep saying, don't worry if they call you a radical, you're being a realist, but be a realist and embrace that. And don't be apologetic about it ever. And we've got our shirts out there. People can go to the all new prathertees.com, or you can just go to watchchad.com. It takes you can also go to the store there, but we've got a whole line of unapologetic patriot, unapologetic freedom.
Wow.
Some just say unapologetic,
I love it.
And so, our thing is, I believe that the two most essential human rights, and we're seeing they're very much under attack, but the two most essential human rights are your ability to own property and to defend yourself.
Right.
We see that Biden came out yesterday, talking about, ghost guns and doing more legislation against the Second Amendment. And it's like, he wants to use the argument about deer wearing a Kevlar vest. I'm not, the Second Amendment wasn't written about deer. It was written about tyrants.
Like him.
So, I'm not apologetic about saying that I'm going to have, it's again, we have to defend those basic human rights. You go back to John Locke's natural law, life, liberty, and property,
Wow.
and those are being taken from us, and people don't understand that. And we're watching the federal government. When I wrote "Am I Crazy?" I said, the asylums are empty, man. The crazies are running the street, and we're putting them in office. And the bureaucrats are dictating to us their ideologies, and we're turning ideologies into policies. And we've just kind of gotten off the reservation, so to speak, away from common sense, away from critical thinking. We've sort of self-lobotomized our minds, got it away from any complexity of thought or critical thinking, to the point where we think if we make the simplest decision, we're critical thinking. We're not at all critical thinking. So I encourage everybody. Here's what I tell them to do. I say, if you want to think critically and you want to find out if you're on the right side of history, ask yourself this every single day: Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Right.
I might feel real passionate about something. I might feel like a real strong conviction. But you need to figure out, am I wrong? Ask all the questions, walk through the hypothesis, take it through the method. If you're wrong, correct it. If you're right, then die on that hill. That's something that's a conviction that you need to hold on to and you need to believe in. And I think we've kind of lost that ability to do that these days.
Well, you touched on the start of the show about fear, spirit of fear. Nothing good comes out of fear. And that's really what the enemy of our souls wants, is what the enemy of our country wants. People, you're watching Agenda 21. I mean, it's been openly published. I mean, just research Agenda 21. No personal property, no personal liberty, no way to defend yourself. Stack you miles high in little boxes, and give you a kind of a socialist, stipend or whatever. I mean, look what the movie Blade Runner. That's what they want, folks. Just look at it. It's been out in the open for a long time. Agenda 21. And of course, the Muslim Brotherhood's The Project. Here we are in Obama's third term. No one's surprised at what that garbage is now. And I'm not afraid to say it. You're not afraid to say it. In 2012, I went on this network and talked about Benghazi being nothing more than arming ISIS. That's what it was. And lo and behold, guess what? Those of us who are called conspiracy theorists, we actually had info, but those who call us conspiracy theorists turn out to be right, folks. And so all that to say is, the best thing we can do, Chad, is say no and then come together in numbers. Folks, you've been seeing the website at the bottom of your screen the entire time, watchchad.com. And I want you to get behind people like this. Spend your money with people like this. Don't fund the destruction of your country or company in some cases. I mean, we have the power to choose who we buy from, who we do business with. Chad, evil does not have any problem being united, even when they devour each other. But it's time for good people to come together, okay, and to be united in our buying power, and our voting power, and our decision making. And we stand together, folks. I mean, what's it going to take? You're going to wait till they're knocking on your door until you use your voice or your buying power? Well, they said, you know what, Chad, they can't cancel you.
Right.
They can't cancel me. I work for myself. Go ahead and try to cancel me. You don't know who my clients are. And so all that to say is, brother, I just commend you in the stance that you're taking. I want everybody to get behind Chad Prather and come see you when you're playing. Now, is your touring schedule or your gig schedule on watchchad.com?
Yeah, it is. We're going slow. After the campaign, I was tired. So I told our guys, I said, we're going to do one show a month until we hit July, and then it'll be off to the races. So we're going to be out in West Texas, actually, for an event May 20th. We've got we're going to be at the Petroleum Club, man. We're going to be high timing out there. What I tell people, I say, I'm uncancelable. I said, I'm part of the parallel economy. Our entertainment is parallel.
Right.
Our merchandise is parallel. We don't do the Amazon thing. We're not into all of that. I just sued Facebook, by the way, and we won. We're the
Really?
first person to ever sue Facebook in the history of Texas and win in court. We go back to court with them again next week. They do not like me, dude. So we're putting our money where our mouth is in that regard. There's too many tyrannies out there, Brent. There's too many tyrannies. You got the bureaucratic tyranny with big government. You got medical tyranny, corporate tyranny, judicial, educational, big tech, big media, so on and so forth. It goes. We're seeing all of this stuff. You got to fight this stuff. So yeah, we're out on the road, man. I'm doing it and having a fun time doing it. So, we're touring around Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas right now, and we're ramping up doing more and more of that stuff, doing live entertainment with music and comedy and lots of fun stuff. So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, Nate, that we got to bring you on TV here and do a little music, little set if you have a chance.
Would love it.
I'll be playing with the Republican women playing piano the next day.
Awesome.
In here. I'm wondering if you're going to be at the same event the day before, but you know what, folks, you have the power to support, to follow, to like, to subscribe, to purchase from, and also to spread the word about people who love you, love America, love what she stands for. I tell you what, brother, all they need to do is come with me to some places where there aren't obese, oppressed people, with refrigerators full of lobster.
And that's exactly, and I pointed that out. Look, I spent 15, almost 20 years in third world countries. I tell people, I say, we're not oppressed. We're making up reasons to be victims.
Right.
Because I think people identify themselves by their pain. That's the one-upmanship. You tell your story, I tell my story.
Right.
I say, you haven't been through anything. Let me tell you what I've been through. Well, if you've never been through anything, you start making up stuff. And that's what's happening in this country. It really is.
Well, it's time to count our blessings, and it's time to take the land. For those who believe in the Bible, there's a scripture right there at the very beginning for men to take dominion. You talked about men needing to be men. You know what? If a man learns the code of knighthood, live pure, speak truth, right, wrong, follow the king, and he learns to provide like a king, protect like a warrior, lead like a leader, love like a lover, you're not going to have problems in America with the less than 1% running the narrative. You're going to take dominion, and you're going to take you're going to take the land the way that it was intended, but America is still the greatest country on the face of the earth. And I just encourage everyone to love her and honor her and get behind those who do. And Chad Prather is one of those guys. And I'm so proud to know you, Chad. I met you on the set of The Chosen the first time, and we've kept in contact, and we want to keep up with you, Chad. So thank you for being Chad-tastic. I call a friend Chad Sandberg Chad-tastic. Well, you're Chad-tastic too. Chad Prather, watchchad.com. Buy everything you can. I'm going to be shopping there as well this week. Thanks for being with us, Chad.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
See you soon, brother. And we'll see you next time on Word on the Street.